would like to start off again as the follow-up session from the last session where we had understood the concept of knowing through the pre-production and how to work around with the quality. So two were the strategic areas that we have learned in the last session. And today again, Dr. Bheda is going to be sharing us some more details on how people can build up, how the organization can build up their rapid skill force, and some new concept on Kaizen blitz. So these are the new things that we're going to be learning from him today. So without taking much of a time, I am just handing over to Dr. Bheda to take it forward. Over to you, Dr. Bheda.
So thank you, Sunil and Sanjay. Good to be working together again. And let me also welcome Maitreyi, my colleague. She's a senior project manager with RBC. She's a fashion technology graduate from NIFT, and she has her master's from Nottingham Trent University. And she has been part of our team for a long time, delivers projects in different parts of the world. So happy to have you, Maitreyi. She would be supporting in the presentation today. So thank you, everybody who joined today. We do appreciate you taking out time to be with us to discuss some of these concepts about building efficiencies. And as Sunil said, that we have discussed the concepts of quality. During the last session, we looked at pre-production. We looked at a little bit about the digital product development and how to improve accuracy in costing. Moving forward, of course, we also had a presentation by Sanjay talking about the WebTNA, the brilliant features of WebTNA. And now we would move further in this session. So some of the key takeaways that we discussed last time were the road to efficiency goes through quality, because if the quality is not right, then you can't really gain speed, you can't get efficiencies. And we must know the true rework rates in various processes to be able to start the journey. The internal customer orientation and zero defect is key, and zero defect can actually be developed in the garment industry. Right first time quality can have tremendous amount of impact, positive impact on profitability of organizations. Pre-production, we talked about some of these tools there, concepts. Digitization, we talked about. So moving further in today's session, we will talk about mainly three areas. One is methods improvement, and how methods improvement are crucial for building efficiencies. We'll look at how do you do rapid skill building of the workforce, and then look at Kaizen blitz. And Sanjay will come and talk about the data management, real-time data capturing. So with that, let's move on. So one of the principles that we truly believe in is even the best can be improved. So you may be a company which is at the forefront, can be leader, but we can't afford to relax saying that because we are leader, there's no more scope for improvement. But here are examples of hundreds of brilliant performers, athletes, players, musicians, who have always tried to break their own records and try to really compete against their own self. And these people are really the ones who inspire us to do our best. And here is an example of Michael Phelps, multiple times gold medalist in Olympics, and broke his records consistently. So again, is sort of said to be one of the greatest athletes or greatest player, Olympian. And here is our own Mary Kom. Again, she has shown that how you can constantly try to excel yourself and break your own records and have a long spell of consistent high performance journey. So these inspirations are very, very important in corporate life, in personal life, to be able to see how do we try to go to next level, for which we should always be constantly looking for opportunities for improvement. And in lean philosophy, in continuous improvement philosophy, there's something called Gemba walk. And Gemba, it's a Japanese word. Gemba means the place of work, where the action actually happens. And Gemba walks are very important for the management to be really able to understand what is going on the shop floor, to be able to be in touch, to be able to go and see for yourself and try to see how can we improve value for our customer. And so all lean journeys, Kaizen, continuous improvement journeys, Gemba walks are very, very important, because many times people try to analyze data in the boardrooms and the meeting rooms, but in the Japanese management principles, it is explained that go to the place where things are happening, go to the process, see it for yourself, talk to people, and then decide how to move forward. And in the Gemba walks, there are three important attitudinal principles, which is communicate with the people that why are you doing Gemba walks? Why does the management come on floor or to departments? Now, you could be in office, but you're going to various people and really see how things work. So the purpose needs to be communicated. Otherwise, people will feel that, management is trying to spy or control. Second important thing is when we go to meet people, we must show respect, and there must be an atmosphere of trust, so that people trust, they understand what the objective is, and that they're able to share. The second important point also is when we go down to various processes, various people to meet them, you ask questions to learn, not ask questions to interrogate, not ask questions to find faults. And in that process, people really feel sort of comfortable, they start sharing. And also look at the processes from the customer's point of view. Is the process adding value to the customer? So as long as these three principles are kept in mind, the Gemba walks can show us where all are the opportunities for improvement by listening to people, by questioning the processes in terms of, is there an opportunity for improvement? So that brings us, so Sunil, we have a poll. Would you be able to conduct it right now? We will have mix of videos also and case studies to talk about. So here's the question: how do factories lose productivity or efficiency? And this is based on the research work in different parts of the world. But assuming there's an example of 100 machine factories working 40 hours a week, so you've got 4,000 hours. So you have labor turnover, there's a training time, on the job training, about 10% of that time goes there. There's absenteeism of the workforce. You tend to lose some amount of time on that as well. Then comes the point of poor methods, that the methods themselves are not best designed, and as a result, you lose human potential there. Then whatever method you have designed and you are sort of explaining, or you wanting your people to implement, their average performance against that method maybe sometimes can be about 90%. So you tend to lose another 10% there. And then there are various small factors, which means machine delays, others repair, waiting time, balancing losses, work study, and all these things again tend to create certain amount of losses. Then the work, what people do in their own work, again, there can be rework level, defects and so on, and that needs to be repaired. And when we factor in all these things, what it does, it brings down the efficiency to about 51.95% is in this particular example. So if you look at the variables like this, the efficiency has landed up to be about 51.95. And that's where you find the factories at about 45, 50, 55% efficiency. They'll end up going there because of these kind of losses. Individually, these losses look small, but cumulative effect of that can be quite disastrous for the organizations. This is from my book, Managing Productivity in the Apparel Industry. Let's move forward. So what we say is, for any job, we must have a standardized methods, and we must always constantly look at improving the methods so that we are able to utilize our potential. And again, you look at the sprinters, how they develop methods, how the coaching is done, starting from the start to maintaining speed to finish. Their methods and their actions are really designed. They're coached to carry out so that they're able to work at a high speed, but at the same time they work at high speed, but remain safe. So that is what is important. And most government organizations now have industrial engineers, work study officers, and one of their prime tasks has to be improving methods, coming out with innovative methods which are more effective, which are less tiresome, and which give us better quality, better productivity from time to time. So taking from the concept of sports, which are used twice, to the actual examples. And these are from the real life factories. And here are the examples of methods previously and later on after improvement. We have mix of examples where there is use of technology or small devices, or human efforts are used or human skills are used. So let's look at this. This operation is called pocket mouth hem. The small attachment being used here, a template. So one option is somebody might not use any template, or this is the usage of template. The time taken for this task is 10.4 seconds. And here is the alternative method. Here the template is controlled by pneumatic devices. And you see that the time has gone down from 10.4 seconds to 6.9 seconds, which is improvement of almost 33%. Simple, not very complicated, by introducing pneumatically controlled work aid as such. Moving further is another example, relatively much low cost, much easier to implement. Maitri, would like to talk about that? You are on mute right now.
This is a typical innovation that we do in Delhi NCR kind of factories. So in high fashion garments, we would have a lot of laces and value addition. So these are shiftly laces where there's an overlay of one lace above the other. So as you can see, it's a role that there is an operator who's trying to, do the overlay. The problems here, one is, of course, there is less production, as you can see, because of the speed. Though the skill is not as much, actually the problem is feeding the material under the
There is
machine.
a lesser production and an inconsistent quality.
Yes.
Now we have
Uh,
the innovation here, which is very simple, very low cost. And so these are guides through which the lace is moving.
So if you look at it, it's a very simple, we call it jugaad. In the Desi language, it's called jugaad. But if you look at the productivity and the quality, it makes tremendous difference. So, at times it's not about the last one, as it's a pneumatic device, but it's not always technological upgradations. At times it's just simple innovations that work really wonders. So
And in
this,
this case, we have been able to eliminate use of operator, because once this device is fixed and the lace goes through roller, then the machine can actually operate on its own. So a brick was kept on the treadle, and the machine just worked without operator. So these are simple ways in which the innovation can happen, as long as people are keeping their eyes open and looking at alternatives for improvement. We move further. This is a machine equipped with small devices where you can see the operation is the rib joined to the neck. That's it.
yes. So this is the rib joining in the neck area. So this is actually a high skill operation. So you require very skilled operator for this operation to be run, because the issues are the rib has to maintain an equal width throughout and equal tension. And rib being a stretchable fabric, it requires very uniform tension throughout. So what they have done is, instead of having manual expertise, they have just put in a roller machine. This has improved the production, as well as now this is practically, they have de-skilled the operation with improvement in production and quality.
So again, these kind of devices can come custom built from the machinery manufacturer themselves, but this can also be developed and put together by smaller engineering team or even the mechanical team of the factory itself. These are very low cost. These are low cost, but can improve the consistency, can improve the quality of the product, and really improve the output of these operations as such. So these again are very simple ideas which have existed here for a long time, but it is important that we take initiative and implement this kind of improvements. So what we would do now is we looked at a couple of examples. We'll look at a particular company's case where multiple operations were improved, then try to see what kind of results come in as a result of this improvement engagement or improvement process as such. So this is from Sri Lankan company, producer of bottoms wear and part of a large group. So here what you see in garment industry, there are many operations where marking has to be done for attaching pockets, for attaching certain superimposed components. And what you see here is marking is done using a template. So the operator puts a template and uses either a marker or water-soluble markers and marks it. And subsequently, she does a decorative stitch on the component, which is in this case shorts. And this took about 68 seconds. And our task was to look at how can we bring down the work content of the product so that the factory is able to offer an attractive price to the customer. And customer had kind of given them a challenge that current costing is too high, try to work out, reduce the work content as such. So as an alternative, what was proposed is that you have a pneumatic device which has got multiple markers so that you are able to, using the pneumatic device, you are able to mark about 7 points or 8 points together with the markers that happen here. And then you do the top stitching using a template. So both put together brought down the cycle time from about 38 seconds to 30 seconds. So less than 50% was the cycle time. And the reduction in the time was about 55 seconds, 55%, 55 to 56%. So again, it is not accepting the methods on the face value and trying to see, using our certain principles of motion economy, principles of methods improvement, which are standardized in engineering, and see what we can do. This is the second operation where this is about attaching the Velcros on the pocket flap. So in the previous case, she was using Velcro one by one and attaching pocket flaps. Workplace layout had to be wasn't the best, and as a result, it was taking about 31 seconds. The alternative was that we use a programmable bar tacking machine where both the Velcros can be put one after other. And as a result, the cycle time went down from 31 seconds to 19 seconds, or no, 31 seconds to 19 seconds. Yes, first to 21 and then 19. So that is a kind of a reduction in the time, but not only time, it improved the quality of the operation substantially. So many a times the methods improvement will give you quality, it may give you efficiency, it may give both. Sometimes this kind of operation can maybe also bottleneck. So not only the output of one operation will be low, but it may also drop the output of the entire line. And in such case, this can be really useful. This is the third example. Here, there is no major change done to machine. Only simple guides have been used to do flaps of different sizes by marking on the machine bed itself. So small, medium, large, and the operator is able to do this job. She doesn't have to use a template. As a result, the time went down from 37.8 seconds to about 27.8 seconds. Let me also put in a caveat. Each of these examples do not mean that what is shown as a subsequent method is the world's best method. No. While doing the improvement, idea is not to come out with the best method. Idea is to come out with the improved method in a limited amount of time so that you are able to make progress. But constantly keep the spirit of improvement on so you don't stop. And you keep on always looking for newer opportunities and so on and so forth. And take that as a company-wide approach. So very simple, no investment required. Next one is again, we got marking using template. And this is marking using the laser lights. So from 24 seconds to 16 seconds, only using laser light. And the next option was use pneumatically controlled marking device, 10 seconds. But you could do any level up. You can even stop here, 16 seconds, that's okay. We don't have pneumatic devices, that is fine. You can go from 24 to 16. That itself is again a substantial improvement. And once these principles are understood, the same principle can be used across the factories because there are so many marking operations. So it's not that you will get benefit only for one operation. You can get benefit for say about 15% of your operations in your factory. And that can have wide-reaching impact. Moving further, if you see this operator picks up component from the previous operation. And you see she has to pick up like this. And if you keep on turning and picking up components throughout the day, of course, you're going to have a very heavy backache. So what is the solution? Solution is very, very simple. We just tilted the table a little bit. Now her acute turning angle has got reduced. And now still she can carry out the task quite well. She's not going to get fatigued. She's not going to have backache. So these are simple principles of adjusting the heights of the chairs, using ergonomic principles. And all these really help us reduce the time, improve quality and consistency, and also improve the operator fatigue. So reduce the operator fatigue so they're happier and they are able to work in those organizations for a long time. Otherwise, you know, these kind of operations can create health hazard for workers, and I'm sure that nobody would like our workers to have that kind of limitations as such. So if you look at the cumulative effect in this company, while we carried out this methods improvement and innovation possibilities analysis across the operations, we were able to bring down their standard time by about 10.9%. And this is already a leading company working for a leading international buyer, and a 10% reduction, 11% reduction in the work content meant the labor cost went down by about 11%, and which is substantial in terms of improving the cost competitiveness. And these are the 5 operations. This is the percentage of reduction in time we achieved through these operations as such. So this is an example. What I'm trying to say is that in every organization, in every process, if you use scientific methods of analyzing and questioning methods, there is a tremendous amount of improvement potential. So that is the first part of our discussion today, that methods need to be improved. Even the best can be improved. And as long as we use our human creativity, questioning mind, and systematic way of analyzing methods, there can be a lot of improvement which can be achieved in shorter time. It doesn't take a long time. It doesn't take a lot of money.
So I have a question with on this, Dr. Bheda. And I understand some of these concepts are going to be very encouraging for a lot of entrepreneurs. But knowing for a fact that majority of the companies which are part of our ecosystem are small scale industries and which are more of a owner driven kind of businesses models. Now, to incorporate such changes requires somebody has to be on the shop floor, on the factory floor, and understand what is going on and how the things can be improved. And with my experience of being in the industry for a long time, the skill set of the supervisor or the production manager, he's not able to foresee all these kind of things. And as an entrepreneur, people or the business owners, they don't have the sense of identifying such small integrities which can give a significant improvement. So how do we bridge that gap? Of course, I understand when it is a fairly about a large size company, let's say 500 machines or 1,000 machines, this kind of an improvement can bring huge efficiency in their productivity. But what do we do with the smaller companies, and how do we match up that area?
Okay, that's a good question, and I'll approach it from multiple point of view. One is, I have seen quite a lot of smaller companies where they produce for domestic market or they produce even for exports. If the owner is technically qualified, they are able to do all these things quite well because they themselves understand the technical aspects of garmenting. Okay, that is one part. Secondly, it doesn't mean that, the owner himself or herself has to go to floor and do this. This culture has to go down up to the workforce. That means even the worker who is doing the work himself or herself can come out with the idea saying that, if I do it like this, it works quite well. I feel less tired, quality will be better, and the output will be good. So can we encourage them to think? Secondly, the supervisors, that is the level of people we really need to train in these principles. And it is possible to train. We have done that in hundreds of companies. It is definitely possible to train. So if you look at, again, Japanese companies, smaller or larger, these principles are ingrained into every worker. So they clearly understand what is value added, what is not value added, and their task is to look for improvement on a constant basis, because that's how they know our company will progress. That is how they will be able to make progress in the company as such. So I've seen a company in Ludhiana, about 150 workers, okay, and just the owner was there. We worked with him, we explained him the concept, and then we worked with the supervisors and some of the floor team. And they understood the principles. As long as we're able to speak their language, we're able to explain, these things are very, very easy to do. So it doesn't require large company. Principles are very simple to explain. Principles are very simple to implement. But yes, the management has to motivate them. Management has to show them direction. कि ये करने का है. Please, and show them also examples. So seeing is believing. If you show them 4 examples, now for them to do another 8 is not going to be difficult. But if you don't show them anything, then sometimes people lack exposure. So they don't know where to focus on. So small, large doesn't really matter. The interest is very important, and guiding people is important. If that answers your question.
It seems to me that the mindset is maybe the single most important factor.
Of course.
And do you also make it a part of your training when you go into a company to actually train the attitude, the approach?
Sanjay, that's a great question. So what we try to do is we go with the assumption that the factory which has taken the pain of inviting us or even call us is interested in improvement. Okay, so we talk to them that thank you that you've taken the step. We are convinced that you're really interested in making improvement happen, and we will work with you to make this process easy, least painful, and you get results much faster. It's not a long, treacherous route that you have to train for 6 months and then results will come. No. So some of these things are so easy. In fact, many years ago, So they're very easy. They can give fast results. So we don't assume that people are not interested first place. We rather take an approach that they're called us, that means they're interested. How do we make their journey most enjoyable? How do we make their journey? And secondly, how do we make them comfortable through that change journey? Yes, change is a little difficult. Nobody really likes change. I also don't like change. So we just assure them that we will work with you and we will together try to make this improvement happen. We will be with you. And people start feeling that, yes, in लोग के साथ काम कर सकते हैं. They're not here to pull us down. They're not here to show that they're smart, and that gives them confidence. Okay, let's try. And in a couple of days' time, in a week's time, suddenly they start seeing results. And again, we'll come to Kaizen blitz. You'll see how fast you can see results. Once you see results, seeing is believing. And then transformation happens very fast. So let's move a little further because the topic will continue. So when we did this work with this company, they said that these new methods are very good. And we know that it's going to be in some processes 30% improvement, 40% improvement. But how do our workers implement these methods? Because we try to train them, we are not able to train them. Okay, what can be done? Because we try to show this new method, they are not able to do. So that's where it brings us to question of what about skills? Are skills available? So my colleague Dr. Koshi did a small piece sometime back saying, "Kahan gaye wo log?" When the migrant workers went away from Delhi and so on, and when the business started coming in, there is a worker shortage. Even today there is a worker shortage. Garment factories are paying the airfare to bring the workers back. In Noida now people are talking about, Noida Cluster has taken initiative of housing them in apartments. Okay, so there is a worker shortage, there's a skill shortage. Then the second question is, can we train people effectively in cost-effective manner? Okay, answer is of course yes. Then the next question is, the training techniques what we're using, are those world-class? Or are we doing something which is better than earlier, but is it still much less effective than what it can be? Okay. Generally, the feedback of the factories is the workers are not floor ready. They take long time, even after training, to be able to come up to the performance. And that's where we'll share some of our personal experience of implementing these skilling systems across globe. So now the question is, okay, what is a skilled operator? How do we look at their methods? How do we look at their speed and momentum? Maitri, when you speak, you have to really speak louder. Okay, so this is.
So this is one of the videos. So, you know, when we go to the factories, one is the ideation and another is the implementation. So at times when you go on the production floor, you really question what exactly, who is a skilled operator, what exactly is the benchmark. So this gentleman, he is joining a sleeve on a shirt. So the fabric is a blend, which is pretty slippery. So this is actually a critical process where as in shirts, you are shirt sleeve, you are actually joining two reverse curves. So operation wise, it's a difficult operation. Now this gentleman, however, he manages to do it in a single burst, that is without stopping even once, which generally takes 4 to 5 bursts. That is, you stop at least 4 to 5 times.
So this is a skilled operation, which operators tend to take 4 to 5 breaks in doing that curved seams. And this person is able to do in 2 shots. First preparatory, and the whole operation is able to do in one go. And it's a critical operation of joining the sleeves. Here is the second operation.
So here, one of the key things is, you know, we say that if an operator is skilled, he won't even need to look at his operations. If there's any deviation from what is going to happen, he would know even without looking at the piece. So that is the level of skills that we are looking at when, you know, just linking it back to the last session that we had when we talk of right first time. It actually, you know, a skilled operator or, you know, right first time actually stems from the person who's stitching it. So when we are talking of skills, we are also looking at uh, an operator who would not only have speed, but would actually have the technique to ensure that the output that is coming out is right first time. And for that, I mean, you know, once it gets into your system, if you're training right first time from the first go, you won't even need to think about it because it'll come out right automatically. If there is any deviation, you would come to know, I mean, you know, even without looking at it. That's the kind of skill level that we are looking at.
You can take example of the people who are really good at data entry or typing. So they can be speaking and they can be doing the data entry. No errors will happen because they're so good at it and their coordination is fantastic. The important point here is it is the responsibility of the management to create that training infrastructure where we are actually able to bring people to that level so that then we can aspire to be at a world-class efficiency level. If you're not able to train them up and expect people to be readily trained at this performance, then it is an unfair expectation. The second part is also important, that in factories, there are some people who are super skilled. They are really, really skilled because they're gifted. Some people are somewhere in the sort of a median range, and some people are low skilled. How do we take the average towards the higher side? That's another point. And that's where, again, the management needs to invest into training. So we are going to move further. Yeah. So that's where our skills training system called 3G Tailor training system comes into picture. So it's really modeled to improve the effectiveness of operator training for both fresh workers as well as the existing workers, to be able to bring them to an international benchmark performance. And what it does, it helps people to from not have seen sewing machine in about 5 to 7 days. They're able to perform at about 40% plus. That means now they can go to the sewing lines and start producing components, start doing operations. And in about 2 months' time, they're able to do 70% plus of a skilled operator's work. So what it does, it brings down the training time. And also because we are able to work with the low performing operator, improve them, so bottlenecks can be improved. Bottlenecks are improved, the efficiency goes up. As a result, the direct labor productivity can go up, and I'll show you examples. You also save on the training cost, so the training becomes cost effective. But more important, if the worker can start producing in a week's time, she starts earning her salary and she starts contributing to factory. So number one, it boosts her own self-esteem that I'm earning my salary and she's contributing to production. And when the worker's performance goes up, efficiency goes up, you are able to reward your workers in a better rate. So from that point of view also, it really helps in solving a fair amount of challenges that the industry faces. So I'll show you one simple case study. This is again from India, and one of the fairly established company, which means they had access to very good training center. They had training center, they had SOPs, and in such a company, 3G tailor training system was introduced many years ago. And if you see the training time and shirt operations as well as trouser operations, in shirt operations, training time went down by almost 75+% reduction in time. Whereas in trousers, they went from 51% to 16 days, 51 days to 16 days. So the training time came down. As a result, cost of training went down. But what it did to this company is, they realized now we can set up a garment factory anywhere. Wherever there is a potential labor supply, we can take our factory there, and within 2 weeks' time, from not have seen sewing machine, our people can actually start making garments. And that gives a tremendous amount of strength to a company, that now worker shortage becomes a matter of past. And that is what happened in this particular company's case as such. So there are some world-class methods which respect trainees' time, makes her capable to earn her salary as fast as possible. And that's good for the trainee, good for the factory, good for everybody. This is a win-win solution. Now, so we said that, and many times when we say this to companies, to management, that this is what can happen in 5 days, 6 days, and people don't believe it, because there are many training approaches where people for 1 week are just working on paper exercises. They are not even introduced to machine. Now here, let us see this lady on the 5th day of training. On first day, she has not seen sewing machine. She comes in on 5th day. This is what her performance is. This is a specialized machine, and on day 6, so not all machines will build up skills at the same time, but let's look at this first. This operation is elastic joint on the front, men's trunk. So she has learned to operate a relatively sophisticated machine, and on day 6, her performance is about 40%. And within about a week's time, she'll go to somewhere around 60. Within 2 months' time, she'll be probably as good as an experienced operator. So this is what can happen as long as we use some of these non-traditional methods which really respect trainees' time and use scientific skills for training the workforce. So this is about the new trainees who within a week's time are kind of within a week, few more days time, ready to go to shop floor, start working in the line, and their performance is built further. It's not that their training is over in 6 days time, but training is divided into 2 parts. But after 6 days, she's earning her salary. And there are trainers on shop floor who will help her become better. Now, what is also important is any factory will have some amount of workers, maybe 20%, 30%, who are not able to achieve their target, where the management feels that their performance is low. So we have something called low performer improvement, LPI. So the trainers that we train inside the factory are taught diagnostic tools where they'll be able to figure out that which are the areas in working of the trainee that needs to be improved, and that worker or method improvement or a low performer improvement plan is implemented. In a couple of days time, the performance of these operators goes up. Here is an example of another factory. So low performer improvement in the Bottomswear factory, another country. So in this factory, about 53 operators' performance was improved, which involved about 40 operations. That means in some operation, more than one operator was trained. Existing operators were working, drawing their salaries. Okay. And the earlier in the line, they were achieving about 58% of the line target. As a result of these operations operators being improved, they were able to go to about 75% of the target achievement rate as such. And the improvement in actual number of pieces was about 30% more from that line. And the cost per piece in this particular line or these lines went down by about 31%. So if we are able to use systematic approaches, scientific approaches, and work with the trainees, work with the operators, and really guide them in terms of how to improve scientifically, tremendous amount of improvement is possible. And let me also assure you, to make this improvement, we did not make these workers hurry up. The approach was not that do it fast. The approach is do it like this. Okay, and that's what makes a lot of difference. So you try to eliminate unnecessary activities that make them fumble or sometimes make them do things repeated. Those are the areas I worked upon. So it's again real life case study from a factory. Now maybe Maitreyi, so I'll run the video a little bit, then I'll stop the video, then you explain, because otherwise you have to compete with the machine's noise. Okay, so yeah, this is lace attach operation in a lingerie factory. So this is how the operator was when the trainers reached there and looked at. So Maitreyi can explain what the challenge is.
So this is lingerie factory, and the operation is lace attachment and finishing at the leg opening of the panty. So the fabrics used here are lace and satin, polyester satin. So A, it's difficult to handle. The fabric is difficult to handle. B, since it is a leg opening, the fabric is very highly shaped. So since the fabric is in bias, it's very difficult to fold the fabric also, because otherwise it will lose its shape. And the two leg openings will be different. So in this, what we did was, the trainers, we did not use any additional work aid or anything else. We just changed the way the operator was holding the fabric. So just by changing her finger movement, we could get the improvement that was there. So
I'll just run the video now, Maitreyi.
Sir, I think in the video there is an option of muting the sound.
Okay.
If you go on the video, yeah. then there will be. So here, if you can see her right hand, it's her finger, how she's using her finger. So, these are very small bits, but it makes all the difference in terms of output and in terms of.
And what you see, the hands on the side is the trainer actually guiding the operator in terms of how to do the hand movement as such.
Dr. Bheda, can I ask you a question here?
Please.
So we see that there are a lot of these cases that you have been sharing, and the factories, I believe, are from different locations within India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. Now, if we were to put a complete perspective of doing such small innovations within the factory, is there a kind of process method that people can adopt to, or is there any, or it is more like a hands-on approach which has to be there on the factory depending upon the style they are doing?
See, there's also a question now which has come in the Q&A box, saying that if the factory doesn't have industrial engineers, then what happens?
Yeah.
You're also saying, so basically, the principles of motion economy or methods study. There's a branch of study as in industrial engineering called method study. So these principles are published, available for anybody to see. If you do net search, you'll get those. Okay. By using those principles, you can analyze any method and you can improve. They're universal. They can be applied to any industry. Okay. Then coming to our industry, either you have industrial engineer, then they should carry it out. But many times they lack hands-on experience. Okay. That means they need to be trained in terms of how to conduct these tasks. If you don't have industrial engineers, it is okay. Even your supervisors, your technicians can be trained in terms of how to do it, but they haven't been formally trained, and that can be done quite easily. It's not very complicated as such, but the management has to take a decision that yes, we would like to do this. Many factories depend on the tekadars, and then the workers are skilled, they do things on their own, and you don't get involved into methods. You just do saying that, okay, my costing is working out okay, then I don't have to get into details. That is a problem. The moment you start getting into details and you create that kind of a trust and start people looking at analyzing things and train them up, then this can be easily done. Small company, big company, doesn't matter. And of course, there is a systematic way of going about it. Training can be done for that team, and easily within about say 2 weeks time, they would have a capability of improving their methods in their factory. Easily that can be done. And I'll show some examples of actually what kind of results have come. So aram se kiya ja sakta. It's not
so we are running little behind the time schedule. So can we just quickly move on to the next one?
Yeah. So there are n number of examples where you see that the existing operators which are already in the factory were not able to achieve their target. They will be able to achieve their target. The question said that can randomly doing method improvement result into improvement in the into the line output? Number one, you don't do improvement in randomly. First, you carry out studies. You find out where are the bottlenecks. You work on bottlenecks. But bottlenecks are not constant. So you have to really see every operation needs to be improved. Bring down the time and rebalance the line. You must bring them to optimal time and rebalance. So that is the method for making breakthrough improvement. I assume that I've answered the question. So we'll move further. Just quickly to give you a glimpse of a larger project, which we just concluded this year in Bangladesh called Shudoko. We worked with 114 factories in last 3.5 years there, and totally about 57,000 workers were trained, new as well as the existing workers, through training of trainers in these factories. Now these factories are able to carry out fresh operator training as well as the existing worker training using the methodologies brought in by us. This is also supplemented by training of the assessors, training of the supervisors to how to work with these young workers and so on. And it has worked quite well. So it is possible to implement these kind of concepts in large number of factories as long as we're really interested. So moving further from here, we talked about scaling, and it is possible. It is cost effective, but we have to get into details. mota-moti formula will not work. So coming that to Kaizen, so typically what is Kaizen? In the two Japanese words, Kai, change for good, Kaizen, change for better. It's a concept of continual improvement, which now across the globe in manufacturing world, Kaizen, even in service world, it is becoming very, very important. It's a culture of continuous improvement. What we again say, even the best can be improved, think there must be a better way. How do you motivate people to think of better ways? And Masaki Imai, who has popularized the Kaizen concept, talked about Kaizen is everyday improvement, everybody improvement, and everywhere improvement. That means in the organization, starting from the managing director up to driver, from the receptionist to whatever. Everybody must be engaged in a process of improvement, identifying where can I improve? That's important. And these voluntary projects can really be, we've seen companies where actually even the security guards have come out with improvement projects, contributing to the improvement of the company. And that's a different culture altogether. Everybody thinking constantly, what can I do? And these people can be recognized. And here is an example of Kaizen Wall of Fame. Every month, this company publishes what kind of improvement projects have they implemented with results of before and after, and what kind of financial gains have been done, what kind of safety gains have been done. And then these people are recognized, maybe with a bouquet of flower, maybe with a small gift, maybe appreciation letter, maybe certificate, depends. And here, from that Kaizen Wall of Fame, let us look at the magnitude of improvement. In this particular company, in 1 month, 125 smaller improvement projects were implemented across the departments. And all these projects were certified by the Kaizen coordinator and the finance team in terms of their financial impact on the company. What kind of savings have happened. So this is the kind of a power of these tools, but it needs a cultural change. It needs the leader to really, really motivate people to go on that path. It doesn't happen overnight. You must believe in it, but it is possible. Again, one of the companies from our neighborhood, we worked with them for a long time. I wanted to give this example to just say what is possible. If you look at Hondas, Toyotas, that's what they do. Every employee is supposed to come out with an improvement idea and implement it every year, year after year. So moving forward, I talked about Kaizen Blitz. So one is small improvements, but Blitz is in a shorter time, you transform a process. A particular process which has been giving trouble, try to problem solve it. Maybe sometimes it is 3 to 10 days. Within 3 to 10 days time, you have a cross-functional team, you train them up, go there, study, problem solve, put the new process, see the results, standardize, you're out. And there can be transformation. So we have n number of cases, but due to paucity of time, we'll not get into too many details, but I'll show you one more real life case. Okay. So this is a lingerie factory. And we studied 27th of March is when the baseline was set for last 15 days production. And this answered the question saying that, will random improvement in certain processes change the machine line efficiency or not? So the line was studied. Everything was analyzed in terms of layout, in terms of skill levels, in terms of methods, in terms of quality issues, 5S, and so on and so forth. An improvement action plan by the cross-functional team was put in. Trainers also got involved. Industry engineers got involved. Supply chain was taken care of. And that is where it moved from 36 as the output per hour to about 55, 59 kind of a average output. Some days are much higher, okay? Within about 8 days time. So focused effort, understanding what the issues are and not thinking too much, but really talking to people, excite them and guide them for taking actions in a timely manner, in a faster manner. You also see while the output went up, the defect rates went down day by day by day, okay? Still there's a lot more to do. It's not that they have reached ideal state as such, but from wherever they were, significant improvement has been done. So these are the cumulative result. And I assume that this answers that question that can the results come in? And here you see that from the average output of 40 pieces, they had set up a goal for themselves of 60 pieces. They went to about 58 pieces. And efficiency improvement also is almost 43% improvement. You've got productivity of same tune. Manufacturing cost per piece down by about 29%. In our previous case also we talked about method improvement. Again, the manufacturing cost went down by almost 30% of that particular line. And we are not talking about the entire factory. That's not going to happen in 8 days' time. But this says that as long as scientifically we implement these methods, as long as what Sanjay said, very important, prepare people's mind and explain to them why should we do this journey. Because it's important for our survival, number one. It is important for us to flourish as an organization. It is important for us to make happy workplace where we can take care of workers, we can take care of our customers, and we can survive in the business. And only way to do that is every day try to innovate and go to next level. So that is the result of a Kaizen blitz. We have done these in Central Asia, we've done this in India, we've done this in Bangladesh, Myanmar, Ethiopia. It works. As long as people are ready, they're interested, as long as we're able to work with them, able to motivate them, coach them and guide them, and management is ready to take fast action. There are no bureaucracies. It'll take 2 weeks to decide about this, then it's difficult. Otherwise, transformation is absolutely possible. With that, I conclude this presentation. Real-time performance monitoring is very, very important. And that's the part going to be sort of talked about today by Sanjay. Thank you everybody for your patient listening, and we'll be happy to take questions later on.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bheda, and we would come back. There are already questions waiting for you. So let us just have a presentation from Sanjay, and then we can take the questions together.
Certainly.
Okay.
Over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Bheda. Let me share my screen.
Please do.
1 second. That should be the right one. Okay, thanks for a lovely presentation, Dr. Bheda. It was very eye-opening and really underlines the fact that you don't have to do a lot. You don't have to spend a lot of money to get some results.
Absolutely.
And in that vein, let me introduce our Kaizen blitz, which is called WebTNA. I mean, one of the most overlooked inefficiencies in factories is simply the TNA. Excel TNAs, I mean, really, in this day and age, we still do Excel TNAs. They're hopelessly, terribly inefficient. And it's very easy and simple to improve it. Low cost. Okay? That's what WebTNA is about. I'm going to go a bit fast because I've done the WebTNA presentation earlier. I want to show extra features in relation to what we're talking about. Okay, these are the 3 products that our company makes. And we are talking about your time and action calendar on the web, WebTNA. WebTNA is all about simplicity, quick implementation, and ease of use. Okay, all the screens are color-coded, traffic light colors, so you can see what is important and what's not so important. There is a live chat within every TNA. That means everybody's in constant touch with it. It's like your private WhatsApp, but built into your TNA. So whether you're sitting at the airport or you're traveling or somebody's at the factory, the QC can just take a picture of the garment and put it in the chat, and you can be sitting wherever you are and approve it or give your comments. Okay? Immediate live communication. A big problem is always people forgetting. I mean, it's a complex business. There are a lot of steps per style, easy to forget. So we make sure we make it easier for the person, for the merchandiser, for the person with responsibility to remember. You have personal calendars, you have a single email, one single email every day. Again, color coded, everywhere color codes, you know, what's important, what's not. And the email itself has action buttons. We're trying to save your time, we're trying to make your work easy. Dashboards, right? Everybody talks about them, it's nice to have them instead of trying to copy and paste information from various Excels and trying to make pivot tables. We give it to you ready-made. This is one example of a simple dashboard. It's showing me visually, showing me the garment, showing me who's responsible, what are the steps which are done, what has still to be done. And the system is also giving you a projected date. Means we are helping you out. We're telling you by this delay of 2 days, it's going to affect your delivery date. We're telling you well in advance. Okay. Another, I think a big factor, how do you know who's doing a good job? Well, we try to solve that by giving you scorecards, be it for a user, be it for a team, be it for a business unit, or be it a customer or a vendor. You can compare them all to see the efficiency. Okay. That's what Web TNA is all about. Okay. Let me quickly take you into the package to show you. Again, I will keep it really short. To set up Web TNA, you can actually set it up within half an hour to 1 hour. You just define your users, define which fields you want to use. We don't make anything mandatory. It's up to you. You want to have 10 fields, you want to have 3 fields, 20. You want to create your own fields, go ahead. Do what you want. Okay? Define your users, define your fields, and define your templates. How do you work? What are the steps in your TNA? You can define that. Different buyers have different steps, easily define it. Connect them all together, you know, assign your users to different activities. It's as simple as dragging, dropping a user on an activity. Okay. That's it. 3 steps and you're ready to go. This is your list of time in action. You can see the colors, you can see the garment. If you open one, you can see what the dates have been assigned. Right? You want to have a conversation with anyone, just open it and start a conversation. Okay. And most importantly, every user has a list of activities, what they have to do every day. Right? I'm going to just look at the relevant ones. And you can also view it in the form of a calendar. Right? So coming back to what Dr. Bheda said, I'm going to talk about how do you capture data at the place it happens. Now the TNA works as well as on desktop as well as on your mobile. So if I look at, for example, production operations, I want to track how much is cut and soon, I can do that by simply having a special activity. We call them special activities, where you can define the steps that need to be recorded. And the operator can enter, you know, how much is cut, how much is soon at the place of production. Secondly, what about quality? You can define your AQL levels. You can define all your defects, record them. This is to take a picture of the defect. Your carton check, your measurements check, your trim embellishment check, your general checklist, everything you want, and fail or pass a shipment, everything on your mobile phone. Okay. Extremely easy to set up, very easy to use, and available out of the box. We built this, by the way, for Triberg, for their factories. And let me come also to the dashboards. So Dr. Bheda, talking about capturing data at the place of occurrence, that's what that whole idea of the concept of special activities is.
Absolutely.
And it's actually quite unlimited in scope. We keep on adding new activities, and you know, there's no limit to what activity can do. This is an example of a
Vivek,
dashboard.
can I ask you one question? You just mentioned that Tribug is using it. So in case if there was a pairing to be done between a Tribug and let's say 2 or 3 factories, and somebody is sitting on the in the merchandising at Tribug is able to track what is happening in the factories, is that all being integratable between the factories and the buyers?
See, when you take Tribug as a customer, they're big, right? So we integrate with Tribug system. So they look at the world from their point of view, right? So they will implement systems. Whether the factory has their own version of TNA or not, Tribug is interested in what information they get, right?
So
it's
can
from
they
their point of
integrate
view.
their vendors also together on the same operation? Let's say for
They
one
are
side, they
at
have
the
the
first, at stage one, they're interested that their QCs, their people are on the system, right? Because their QCs are the one doing the inspections. So that is their primary goal. A further goal can be integrating the vendors, but we have to come to that.
It's all possible, right?
Everybody's a user, whether it's a user of a customer, a user of a vendor, can be of your freight forwarder, anybody can participate. We have actually successfully in the West combined freight forwarders in the TNAs with the sourcing companies, so that everybody's in the loop, and you can also selectively make things visible. So the freight forwarder only needs to see 2 parts of the TNA. Okay.
Amazing. That's really wonderful. In case if the entire operation can be integrated well, right from the buyers to the suppliers and the vendors, I think there can be a seamless level of communication which is flowing in.
Very true, but we always say home first, get your own knitting in order before trying to involve the world. So that's most important to get your own actions in order.
Enjoy. Many times, people have supply chain partners and we say supply chain partners should do this or that. So our request to them is first improve your house, get your people convinced about it, then you can start preaching. Otherwise, you can't do that. That's the success of Japanese companies, is the Hondas and Toyotas. They implement what they implement and then they transfer that system to their vendors, to their supply chain partners. Absolutely a beautifully well-built, tested system. But you must breathe it, then before you're talking to others.
Let me say, the days of having those huge Excel reports, it's amazing how many companies I go to where you have X megs of Excel reports. People are still working with that. And I remember when I started working in the Netherlands, I joined a big retailer there. And I was introduced, walked to all the departments, and they had this thicker sheet of paper, right? Yeah, this is our morning reporting. That thicker sheet of paper. I'm not kidding you. And the whole day, these guys would carry that load, go through them. That's what a lot of companies today are doing with Excel, 10 megs of Excel reporting and trying to go through them and making sense of it. Instead, look at this. This is showing me 6 styles, what the status is, somebody's getting late. I just click on it and say, okay, there's the problem. Type a message and say, why are you so late? What's the problem? Live, okay? I want to see, for example, what is the status of orders with one customer? And this is showing me, for example, so these 6 styles for this customer, 100% order confirmation, lab approved, but only 66% trims approval. I can zoom in and see exactly what's wrong anytime. It's not a big change, not difficult to implement, but a sea change in terms of efficiency. And imagine having to go through an Excel sheet to look at that. Okay. Because the most Excel sheets I see today for TNAs have pictures in them. So all your sorting, everything is not possible. So you literally have to manually go through things. It's remarkable. And I think what's very interesting is scorecarding. If you don't measure, how do you know if you're doing well or not? Are you looking at your efficiency of your people, of your teams? Are you comparing them? Is there any measurement? If you're not doing that, then, what are we busy for? Then you come back 5-10 years later, same company, the same, drama is happening. The same things are going wrong. The same panic. So that's we hope to change with WebTNA. I'm happy to take questions. Sonal, you want to check any questions?
Yes, there are some questions that we want to answer. I want to just take a quick, break here from the conversation. There are certain things that I want to share, and then we'll come back quickly on the questions again. For the people who are with us in the room, we're just sharing the information about the next upcoming session, which is on the 17th. We have a session wherein we have two buying agents, Linda Augustin and Madhu Senan, joining us. They are being joined by none other than Mr. Ram Sareen, who is the co-founder and the chairperson of Tukatech 3D Technologies. Dr. Bheda had spoken about Tukatech in his first presentation. So we are going to be talking about how to take the best use of this in the business models at this point of time. We also would like to share that there is another significant event, which is a virtual exhibition called Vastra 2020, which is coming up. This is an international event being promoted by Rico and Fiki, wherein they're bringing in all the garment manufacturers from Rajasthan and North India to come together and showcase their strength. This has been promoted jointly by a lot of associations, buying associations from Europe, US, Japan, Australia, and GARE and NEPC are the front-end associations who are going to be doing it. Sowtex is also happens to be the co-partner in this particular event, where we are showcasing the pavilion for fabric and trims. So anybody who is interested in showcasing the fabric and trims or would like to participate in the garment side, you feel free to contact us or reach out to the FICCI team. We would like to give a quick thanks to our partners in DTEX, promoted by OwnTex Solutions. They are into KN95 mask. They have been supporting us right throughout the series. They are Eurofin certified company and are also EN 149 approved business. Quickly, that Sowtex has been able to create a connect, which I've just spoken about in the earlier time. For people who would like to understand the Sowtex offerings in more details, these are certain set of things which Sowtex offers. The screen is on the left side. Normally, businesses end up spending about 15 lakh rupees on certain set of things over the year, and Sowtex is offering this at a very reasonable membership price. The figures are there. There are 3-tier memberships and a host of benefits in terms of sourcing, liquidation, and getting your visibility for the business. These are the numbers you can reach out to us on, and or in case if you're not signed up with us, you can just log on to sowtex.com for this. Thank you, and we are just going to start off with the questions now. So there are 7 questions which have been given out by Mr. Gopinath Ravi. I'll go it with one by one. So as a handloom silk sari manufacturers, I'm facing much of the struggles due to pre-productions. The pre-production system affect the global warming, vast exploitation of natural resources, wasting of natural resources, and increasing the pre-investment, increasing the inventory. How can we avoid this? Dr. Bheda, can you give any kind of suggestion here? You're on mute, Dr. Bheda.
Yeah. So as a what to say, trade facilitation platform, maybe you are in better position to sort of comment on that, and maybe I can add a little bit.
So lot of things which you have just mentioned out here in terms of pre-productions. I believe that in the last session, there are certain things that we have talked about in terms of using new tools which are 3D enabled. And Dr. Bheda had rightly pointed out that these are the tools where you can reduce your sampling cost. The sampling cost helps you to overcome quick turnaround and meet up to the buyer expectations. If you can do that, that is significant cost reduction in your operation, as well as less areas of expenses to be there, and you can find a new set of fabrics, trims, accessories when you're live on the platform. You want to discover anything in terms of fabric trims, or even looking out for raw materials for yourself. you can just post your requirements there and your turnaround can be much more faster. And you may end up saving a lot of money when you are doing the procurements there. Mr. Dr. Bheda, if you want to add something over here.
Okay, so it's a larger question. I understand that as handloom weavers are facing fair amount of challenges, and so challenges are at two end. One is to be able to reach out to customer and tell your unique story in terms of how is your product, how is your craft different, and the digital platforms are really helping go there. There are many specialized platforms which are mainly meant for like a fair trade platforms, mainly meant for smaller players. So if you can look at those, then that will help you to get a better visibility as far as linking to your customers as such. There would be opportunity for improving your pre-production processes that would need to look into, and the issues of sustainability also are important. Again, you need to see how is your product unique from that point of view that you are able to tell your story. In handloom, handicrafts, being able to tell the story of your product and your unique craft is very, very important. And I do understand your second question is that many websites are claiming to sell handloom products at a very, very low price. And this is an issue which needs to be dealt with in terms of taking it up with the government, taking it up with the regulatory agencies, and I'm sure that certain amount of safeguard mechanisms can be done so that the right kind of product is called by right name, and the machine-made products are not really sold as handloom as such. But I do appreciate your challenge. There are certain opportunities, but finding a right platform for your product, which is dedicated to promoting handloom and handicrafts, is really, really important. So look at those opportunities, especially in the area of fair trade, and you'll be able to find some useful sites there.
I also would like to add up here in case as we are evolving in our digital connectivity, as the ecosystem in terms of sourcing is getting more evolved. Of course, there are information which are being posted by suppliers which are not incohesive with the products, but that's how the ecosystem is getting evolved. And in case if there is a more genuinity that you need to look out for, you should ask for reviews from your customers. So testimonials and your customers' feedbacks, in case if there are videos that you can share out, that can be a huge help when you are going out and putting yourself on a digital platform. It can be platforms like Sowtex, IndiaMart, or any other platforms, or Amazon. Whatever reviews that you are able to generate can add up to the genuinity, and that can take care of it. And in case if you are into a bulk manufacturing process, so more products that you can manufacture, the platforms gives you a gateway to reach out to as many customers as possible across different regions. So that kind of advantages is also coming as part of the platform. So both are pros and cons which have to be looked out for. So I think that is something which can be of help. And in case if you want to make yourself more visible, list yourself as much as you can in digital platform, which can give you a wider set of visibility so that your competitiveness in terms of selling becomes more easier. So I'm just going to take up another question. He also has a question wherein how can we report them, stop them from selling fake products due to as many does not believe the price is the real handloom product. So I would say Amazon and Flipkart have taken a lot of measures when it comes to doing a price control. But this is something which is not in hands of every single manufacturer and every single retailer. So every manufacturer has this own way of selling the things. There can be people who are making at mass levels and can work for, let's say, 10-20% of a markups. And there are people who work normally at about 40-50%. So digital platforms do give the options for the users to find out what all is available in the market. And in case if there is some differentiation that you can create, do post some certifications along with your products, which helps you to take that credibility of your product or make it different from the other products, so that people can identify that if you are into the handloom segment and you're making silk sarees or different kind of valued products, those can stand out. So the people can make out what is the right quality and what is the things which are available there. So that can be a way to tap into this particular challenge. We have 2 questions from the anonymous attendees. Does improving processes randomly leads to increase in efficiency of lines unless it is a bottleneck process?
That has already been answered.
Okay.
Already been answered. That
Okay.
you won't do it randomly, you'll do it after study.
Okay, and the factory has to take only few industrial engineers, 1 or 2. How do we allocate them to the maximum benefits?
That also has been answered. I've
Sure.
seen questions before. So
Okay.
it's not a precondition that you have to have industrial engineers. Even the trainers whom we train,
Yeah.
many of these trainers are almost like acting as good as or very close to an industrial engineer in terms of specific skills of analyzing operations and improving. So as long as you are able to bring the right kind of training and techniques to them, people learn, people can be developed. We need to be convinced about it, and we should be able to transfer that knowledge. There's no problem.
Thank you. Another question from Mr. Gopinath Ravi is, money spent on the Kaizen projects improve productivity. This productivity really offset high and give high returns than the money spent on the Kaizen project. So I'm
Yes.
not quite sure what is.
Basically just to both questions. There's one more question, follow-up question from him.
Yeah. Do you have a comparison before and after the terms of the money is spent on the Kaizen project?
So in fact, what I've shared, the cases, 2 cases that I've shared, in both cases, I have indicated the labor cost of per piece before and after. And in both cases, the approximate reduction in the cost of labor in both the products was about 30%. Now that is example of those 2 cases. What I can say, if you look at the global experience of implementing Kaizen projects, especially Kaizen blitz, it has a power to transform the process and bring in very clearly visible results. And that investment is definitely worth paying for because it doesn't take long time and it gives you results in a fairly small amount of time. Not only you gain from the process improvement, but your team also get trained in terms of how to do it for another process. So it's an investment worth doing. Find a right partner, find a right coach who has good credentials. You are able to check with their past and history, but otherwise it is definitely worth doing it. And it can be done in any organization, service organization to manufacturing to even handloom handicrafts. There is no limitation as such. The improvement process principles are universal. It is worth it, I would say so. To Mr. Gopinath also, I'll say thank you for your interest. It definitely is worth it.
Thank you so much. I have a question from Ms. Usha Silvaraj. I was looking to understand, is your sharing possible in the business startup? As I've been planning for my own website, instead, should I sign up with you? So, Ms. Usha, in case if you are starting up a business in textiles, it is very important for you to discover the right set of vendors that you would require for your product. And being with Sowtex, it will help you to make this discovery faster and easier. In spite of all this fact, in case if you have created your own products also, your products can be listed out and you can reach out to a lot number of buyers at a much more faster area. And Sowtex also offers you the product sharing tools, wherein with your own set of specifications, you can have this information right access to your through the website also, as well as through a mobile app. So all those kind of features which are available on the platform, they are always in terms of more advanced in terms of the technology, because we keep on upgrading up the technology in terms of the requirement. So having a website will definitely make sense for you in the long term whenever you want to do it, because it adds a lot of credibility and brand value to your own business. But in case if you want to create lead generation model, or you want to reach out to a lot number of suppliers and buyers, then being on a platform like Sowtex will really help you out in the long run. I hope that answers your question well. We have a question from Mr. Vinod Sahani. How should we bring efficiency in high fashion beaded factories where skilled operators always are an issue?
Yes, so as long as we want to bring in improvement, then the solutions are available. You know, if you want to be in business, and fashion business is what you identified, beaded high fashion business is what you identified to be in, then we have to apply principles for that business. So yes, the skilled workers who are there, we have to retain. We have to develop new skilled workers, and then we have to eliminate waste. Just by eliminating wasteful activities, we would be able to improve our productivity and profitability by at least 20 to 30%. It is possible. Many of these techniques can be used for beaded garments also. We have been doing it for a long time and can be done. There's so much amount of scope of improvement there, and if done well, even your quality of your subcontractors who do beading at their homes, that can also be improved by right kind of guidance, by some amount of inputs on techniques, and giving right information. A lot of improvement can happen on that, which will reduce your costs, which will reduce your rework, and things can improve. There are n number of NCR factories, high fashion factories they have worked with. Improvements are possible, but we need to be convinced that we will do what it takes to be done. Okay, and there should not be anything that cannot be done. So impossible is nothing. If you go with that approach, absolutely possible. I can't nitty-gritty of that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So very well concluded on this particular answer, Dr. Bheda. Let me see in case if there are any more questions left. We have, Usha Selvaraj wants to have a contact details of you, Dr. Bheda. I think you have shared it. And Sanjoy, in case if you can also share your contact details on the chat box so that people can reach out to you also for WebTNA. And I believe that WebTNA is an amazing tool when you want to work out in the different zones, and especially when you are having currently in the landscape, we have multiple factories wherein people are sitting at different locations. The merchandising is sitting at one location. The factory floors are different. So WebTNA gives a lot of synchronization in terms of the teams, and the productivity can be much more faster. So I think that's an amazing part of what Sanjoy has to offer through his tool. And I would say lovely presentation, Dr. Bheda, and it was a complete eye-opener for me also, being part of the ecosystem. So there's a lot to learn about every time you are here on the platform, and there is something new that we come out with, a new set of innovations. I would say for me it's an innovation because we never happen to go out and explore these kind of options on the factory floor.
Thank you so much. On behalf of our entire team, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Maitri, for joining today. And thank you, Sanjoy. It's lovely working together.
Any
Thanks,
remarks from you, Sanjoy?
Thanks, Maitri. Thanks, Dr. Bheda.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maitri, for giving us the live examples that you have been sharing it with all the people here. So apart from this, I would say we had a lovely service. Yeah.
There's a last minute question, which has come from Suresh from Canada. Yeah. And he's talked about very important point, which is in time study, there is a rating factor, and is, how do we manage that accurately? So Suresh, as you know that we have the performance rating training, but of course it takes a long time to develop the capability of doing performance rating in an accurate bandwidth, accurate level. But the training can be done. We do train people in performance rating, and other alternative is of course to go for PMTS, predetermined time standards. And in last presentation, I had talked about time SSD and other techniques. So yes, it is an important factor. It does require training, specialized training to do performance rating. But thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So to all the attendees who are in the room today, I would like to share that the last presentation that we had from Dr. Bheda and Mr. Sanjoy is already there on Facebook community page, Sowtex community page. So in case if you want to go back and in case if you missed out on the last presentation, please take a time to review it. You can reach out on Sowtex community, which is a closed group, so you can have access to the videos there. And today's session is also been live on Facebook. So in case if you want your friends or your colleague or your factory team members or to have a look into the today's session, and I believe there was some very, very important information being shared today. So in case if you missed out or they have missed out, so please reach out to them and ask them to connect on the Facebook Sowtex Network Facebook page. So the entire session is going to be there. And in case if you want to put out any comments, you can post it over there. In case if there is any other question that you still have or any doubts that you may have, you can still write to us on info@sowtex.com, and we will share with Dr. Bheda and Mr. Sanjoy. And you also have the details with us on the chat box. With this, anything more, Dr. Bheda, would you like to give any, closing comments? Anything else that you want to say?
Thank you, everybody. Take care, be safe, enjoy your evening.
Thank you so much.
All right.